it's kind of been discussed or talked about as a bit of a season-defining test against France this weekend back here. Does it feel that way to you?
Oh, look, I don't necessarily think so, but I think it's a special test. I think every test match is a season-defining one when you're in a black jersey, and you look that we've had 14 tests and obviously won 12, lost 2, and we've got a 15th test come along. So, I think this team has achieved some great things this year. We've played some good rugby. We've now come into an experience that a number of players haven't had, which is up in the Northern Hemisphere, and we've got to maximise our chances here. But we've also got to really show our learning from last week, and we've got to be sharper in how we make decisions and use the opportunities we can get. But if we can do that, then I'll be a pretty satisfied coach at the end of the night.
Was it always the plan to bring Aaron Smith back in and back into a starting role, or is that a response to what happened last week? Could you just talk around his selection, please?
Oh, I don't think it's a necessary response, but what we did, as a selection group, we saw a team that was giving it everything, and I think we saw the character and the attitude defensively. I just don't think we were smart enough with the ball, and sometimes there's a little bit of a, I'm not sure what the word is, but we've certainly been on the road a long time, and I just don't think we were thinking as sharp as we needed to be. And so, we've gone down the path of making a few changes. We think that's going to maximise the energy in this group. He's one of them, and we've had some players missed out on this particular team who have been massive contributors through this campaign, but we just really believe the team needs a little bit of an injection of freshness for this new challenge.
Awesome. Jump in, Mark Hinton.
Sure. Hey, Fuzzy, other than Bowden and Anton, was there anyone else unavailable, or was everyone else fit and available for selection?
Well, look, just Angus Tarval, he was not quite there. He wasn't too far away, and he's rehabbed really well, but just not quite there.
Okay, and just in terms of you've made a half a dozen changes there, and there are some fresh legs there for you. I mean, how important do you think that's going to be, the freshness, the likes of Sam, Quinn, Dane, Aaron? How important is that going to be this week for you guys, do you think?
Oh, I think it's vital, and this will be in this particular block. It's our 5th test in a row, and before that we've had another 5 tests in a row. So I think when you look at the way that we've managed guys, it's been like I've said it before. It's a very unique season that it was very hard to actually just settle on one group of players and run them through the whole program, because the schedule and the itinerary and the circumstances made that impossible. So how we've injected freshness into the group has been key through this campaign, and delighted with the depth. But I think for this game here, we really felt that the team just looked a little bit off the mark last week, and bringing some fresh legs in is exactly what we need. And I think we've seen that injection of I guess mental freshness come through this week.
Cool. Who'd like to go next? And we'll go back to people who've got another question. Okay, Tom, jump in again.
Thanks, Joe. G'day again, Ian. I just wanted to ask, was it tougher sort of selecting the team this week and also actually announcing it to the squad, knowing that sort of any of those players who miss out this week obviously don't get another opportunity this year, and knowing it was sort of the last chance for them to play?
Oh, yeah, good question, Tom. I think the last week's always the toughest, and those Monday night conversations or Tuesday conversations aren't very pleasant as a head coach, but and particularly when we're making a number of changes with guys that have sort of put so much into this tour and so much into this campaign, but we just felt that we needed to go with the fresh bodies. So I think that they're never easy, and everyone's highly competitive. They want to play, but to be fair, the response has been, they go from bitterly disappointed to just, well, what can I do for this team? So again, the response has been outstanding to that.
Awesome. Just one last one. Last week, obviously, Tupaea and Finlay were on the bench and didn't get used. I don't think it's really been discussed much. Was that pretty much just circumstances with Ireland sort of controlling the game, and obviously presumably be hoping you're not in a situation this week where you can't roll out the bench given the big workload some of those guys had last week?
Yeah, well, I think you saw, if you followed us through this campaign, we've basically used our bench generally very early, and we've often gone into the last 12, 13 minutes with no one left on the bench. This last week, we just felt that, we had two old heads at lock who we felt were really important, and when we did get an opportunity, we felt we just needed some old heads in there to really take it. And I think, TJ, particularly from a defensive perspective, and that was largely what we were doing, he was making a huge amount of tackles. And when we lost Bodie and Anton early, it meant that if we lost another back, TJ was probably going to have to cover every other back position. So we got into a very unique situation. So that's the only reason. And every game's unique. You don't go in with a set strategy, but, I think if you look at the way we've handled our bench, we've proven that we go to our bench regularly quite early.
Cheers. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks. We'll go to Lynn, and then Liam, and back to you, Mark, for another question, and then Nick Heath.
Hi, Ian. Quinn Tupaea has come a long way since that turnover in the last minute against the Springboks, and now appearing in this game. What's impressed you about the way he's approached his whole season?
Oh, first year All Black, young, trained hard, still got a bit of a spark to him. Like, it hasn't, coming into the environment hasn't overawed him, but it's he's shown massive respect to learn the role and to contribute. And on the park, generally, he's excited with some of the challenges we've put him in, and hard runner. Runs good lines, good over the ball, an enthusiastic chaser. So he does a whole lot of good things about the game. He's obviously learning, and this is a massive test for him, isn't it? But it's we've got a lot of faith in him, and he's been with us now. He knows our ways, and really confident that he'll have the temperament to deal with this occasion.
And it is a big test because their midfield's generally seen as one of their stronger points too.
Yeah, well, that's right. So, great way to learn, isn't it?
Okay, thanks, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
Thanks, Lynn. Okay, Liam, jump in.
Yeah, Foz. Just at the other end of the spectrum with a guy like Sam Cane, what have you made of his comeback? And it's been, I guess, pretty cautious, but coming back to start here, I guess nice to turn to a bit of experience.
Yeah, look, we have been cautious. He's been cautious, but it's been a very considered approach through the medical staff. We weren't tempted to rush him back in because we just felt that he was out for a significant time period. It was a major injury, major surgery, but delighted with his effort training. He hasn't held back. He's holding to stuff. He's been working really hard with Dalton and Artie, the other sevens, and is contributing to that group. And it's been in some ways made a little bit easier by the performances of Dalton. That's enabled us to bring Sam back at a stage where we just feel, again, an injection of his freshness into this team right now. We're really banking on the fact we can get a lift in our performance.
And just France, I guess historically they've been highly unpredictable, but this sort of young team has been building for some time. What have you made of them, and where do you think they're at?
Oh, look, from what we've seen, I thought it was hard to tell in July because they left so many of their top players at home when they played Australia. But it was really the Six Nations. I thought that they produced, had a part in a couple of big games in the Six Nations where they obviously have got a license to play a little bit. They've got a lot of enthusiasm through their youth, particularly through some of the work of their loose forwards is pretty strong. But at the end of the day, it's a big test. They'll be out to test themselves, and and I'm sure they'll be reasonably confident being at home. But for us, it's another great occasion, and we just got to make sure that we challenge their experience and challenge their decision making, and I'm sure it bodes for a pretty strong way to finish a campaign.
Cool. Thanks, Liam. We'll go back to Mark, and then we'll go to Nick Heath.
Yeah, hi, Ian. You mentioned those tough conversations. I wonder if you could just give us a bit of insight into what you said to Dalton Papalii. I know Sam obviously brings a lot at 7, but as well as Dalton's played this year, he's got to be a little bit unlucky to miss out. What was that conversation with him like?
Oh, look, I don't like to share too much about those conversations, but I guess it did involve a handshake and a congratulations for an outstanding season. And he should be very, very proud of what he's achieved. And like, he's pretty battered and bruised after that Irish test, but he's put in some big games for us this year and really proven that he's an international 7.
Okay, Nick Heath, would you like to jump in now with a question?
Thank you. Hi, Ian. I just wanted to go back to Quinn. Was that selection always in your mind, or was it anything that sort of came in once you saw that France were looking to play Jonathan Danty instead of Jalibert and Ntamack as they had the last couple of weeks?
I only found their team out this afternoon, so it didn't impact on us. To be fair, I think we'd actually guess that the French might go that way. But no, that was more about us, Nick. It was mainly about, obviously with Anton's out anyway with a shoulder injury, there was always going to be a change there. And I guess it was a matter of which way round we looked at utilising Quinn and David. I thought David actually showed some signs of being, some of his creative skills in the Irish test. We didn't get the result we wanted, but he showed some nice touches in that last part of the game. And so we're working on that, and we just feel that Quinn will, be very settled coming in a starting role and get him to play the type of game that he's good at.
Lovely, thanks.
We'll go to David from Agence France Press, thanks. And then we'll go to Zion from TVNZ.
Evening, Ian. A question. How little or how much talk about the 2023 Rugby World Cup opening match has there been within your camp this week?
Zero. Haven't even mentioned it, to be honest. So, it's 2 years away. And, I know that, there'll be a lot of speculation around its significance and all that. You get that all the time. And clearly it's a big game in the World Cup when we play them in round 1. But, we went there 2 or 3 years ago when we played South Africa in the opening game. So, and they went and we won that game and they went on to win it. So, I'm not sure how significant it is, but what is significant is it's a chance for us to go against a confident French team and to see where we sit. And that's the main thing we're working on.
Cool. Thanks, David. We'll go to Zion and we'll finish up with you. Zion?
Thanks. G'day, Ian. Just coming into this last test match, how much growth and development have you seen, not only from the young guys and the new guys coming into the All Blacks, but also just as a side in general?
Well, we've seen considerable growth in this group, and and I guess that's been one of the key objectives of it. We go out to try and win every test match we play. Everyone knows that, and and part of us growing our game as we go forward in the next couple of years is obviously to cement combinations and that. But this tour has been a unique situation that 10 tests, 12 weeks, can't go home. We've had to have more players here to cover all the COVID scenarios. So we've actually have doubled up our objectives on this trip of making sure that we do use it to grow some depth. And we've been delighted. And I think you go through, like you look at our front row stocks, our loose forwards, we're growing good options in there. And there's going to be some really big decisions to make in the next 12 months in those spaces. But it's been a fantastic opportunity to do that, and really delighted with the way that I'd say everyone's taken their opportunities today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Foz. We'll let you go. And thanks for that.
Pleasure. Au revoir.
Au revoir.